Whenever I tell people I have chickens, the first thing they want to know is, what do you do with them in winter? So in this video, I'm going to share with you all the different things I do to keep my chickens happy through the winter. Number one is protecting them from wind. I have these corrugated roofing panels that I put on as soon as the weather starts to turn, and they love it because they huddle behind it. They get the morning sun behind the front side because this faces east, and then they just lay there like they're in a greenhouse. And it's really great because when it's rainy or windy, it stays completely dry under there because it's under their hen house. So that gives them a nice little refuge. So if you just have any spot where you could protect them from the wind outside, that would be great. Another thing is being careful that it doesn't get humid inside the hen house. You don't want to put their water in there. The most important thing is that it keeps dry. You also don't want to seal it up. You want to make sure you have ventilation. I keep mine up high, so as long as there's good airflow and it stays dry in there, they're going to be okay. You also want to make sure they have an area to dust bathe. Now this can be tricky because in the winter the ground can freeze, and if it's completely hard, then they have no way to clean themselves. So that's no good. So you may, if you're in a very cold area, need to do like some sort of a cement mixing tub and put builder's sand in there and diatomaceous earth. That can be, an iffy one. Some people like to use it, some people don't. You can do your own research, but you want to definitely have an area for them to dust bathe. Under here, it's staying dusty. I just raked it yesterday, and as long as there's dust for them, they're fine. So back to the water. What I like to do is I have a rubber bowl, and that way I can just break it in the morning, fill it with new water, and then the chickens keep it from freezing during the day by drinking out of it. I mean, that depends where you are. If you're somewhere, in the Midwest and you get 30 degrees below zero, you may need to use a heated drinking bowl. Heated dog water works fine. I also have from Premier One, I got the nipple heated water, which this I actually do sometimes. We had a windy blizzard and the chickens wouldn't leave the hen house, so I did put that inside the hen house, and that's okay because it's sealed. Water only comes out when they peck it, so that's not going to increase the humidity in your hen house. It's also a good idea to give them some extra protein in their diet. A lot of times when we order Chinese, we'll order fried rice, but they also give you a lot of free white rice, so we have extra of that. Some people cook for their chickens, they give them rice and beans. It's also a good idea to just give them a little extra protein. I like to throw them some scratch before bedtime because they like to eat before they go to bed. It gives them something in their stomach to help keep them warm through the night. Another great source of extra protein is mealworms or black soldier fly larvae. You can get these dried. I like to get it online in bulk. I got them a nice 10-pound box just to help get them through the winter because they love this. It's a great treat. The poodles even love it too. It's our morning ritual. We go give the chicken worms and the poodles get some. And if it's going to be really cold, I even give them some of that before bedtime. It also helps to have more chickens because they keep each other warm. You also want your hen house to be the right size. You don't want it too big because then it's hard for them to really gather together and to warm it up. This is actually a little big for me right now. It's 4 foot by 6 foot and I only have 4 hens. So I do have a supplemental heating source in there. I have a heating plate. I probably don't need it. I just have it from when I built this run for one of my chickens that was getting bullied, and I really didn't want to put her down. So I built her this run, and she was having a hard time when it was really dropping cold through the night last winter. And I bought her this ceramic heating plate on Amazon, and she did a complete 180. She started laying again, and I thought she was totally retired. So it really does make a difference. If you have one chicken alone, you definitely want to give them some sort of heating source. It doesn't really emit a lot of heat, but she would lay up right against it. So it was as if she was laying up against another chicken. So that really helped get her through the winter. But yeah, more chickens will warm each other up. The other reason I have the heating plate in here for them is these chickens, not only is there only 4 of them, they also don't really like each other. They don't huddle together. My last group of chickens, the first group I got was Isa Browns. There were 6 of them. They would all huddle together on the same perch. These, I have 2 on the perch that get along. I have 1 that sleeps in the nest box. I tried to break her of that habit. I just completely gave up. And then I have 1, I named her Gimpy because she seems to have some sort of a foot problem. She can't hop up on the perch. She even has a hard time getting down the ramp. When it's really cold out, I have to help her. So she just sleeps on the floor of the coop in a corner. So they all sleep in their separate areas. So since I had Maud's heating plate, I put it in there for them because why not? You do want to be careful with heating your coop. It's really not a good idea to put too much of a heat source in there for a couple of reasons. If you were to put, say, a space heater in there and then the space heater dies or you lose power, that's going to shock the chickens and they're more likely to die had you never put any heat source in there. Now the heating plate, it hardly emits any heat. It's just, I know if they get really cold, they can go and they can rub up against it, but you really want to be careful. You definitely don't want to use heat lamps. There are so many stories of heat lamps causing fires in coops, and you definitely don't want your coop on fire. What an awful way to go. If you have enough chickens and you have the right size hen house, you probably don't need a heating source depending where you live, and also depending on the breed chicken you get. If you are looking for chickens, just be sure to get a breed that is suited to your area. If you're in the south, you want to get one that's heat tolerant, and if you're in the north, you want to get one that's cold tolerant. And if you do have a chicken that's in an area that it shouldn't be, well, that's when you're going to probably need to supplement some heat or provide air conditioning. But that's another video, how I keep my chickens happy in the summer. You also want to avoid a snowy run. Chickens don't like to walk on snow. That's why these girls aren't out yet, because I haven't shoveled the run yet. They don't like to touch snow. And especially the ramp, when it's snowy, it gets slippery, so I have to brush that off. One great thing to have handy is just in the fall, save some leaves and then you can dump that on the snow, and they really are appreciative of that. Or if you have hay, just something that they can come and walk around on, because you don't want them staying in there because it's not good. It's really good for them to get fresh air and avoid any illness. You want to keep them happy and healthy, because chickens are easy when they're healthy and they're doing good. Chickens are a challenge when they're sick. So I do everything I can to just prevent illness. And that's another reason why you don't want to keep it too cozy in there and warm anyway, because you do want the chickens coming out. You also want to avoid a muddy run in the winter, because like tomorrow we're going to get a ton of rain, the snow is going to melt. So what I like to do is get pine pellets that are used for horse bedding. So I sprinkle those, and then the water breaks them down into like a sawdust, and then that keeps the run from getting muddy. So I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you're thinking about chickens but wasn't sure what are you going to do with them in the winter, I hope this helped. If you have any other tips, that would be great. Share them in the comments. Take care. Thanks for watching. What are you doing? You don't want to come out? It's too snowy? Do I need to clean your run? Okay.